The coin is Byzantine, not yours by right. You took it from a man who could not explain where he had gotten it, outside Buda, 3 campaigns ago. You did not press him because the answer would have complicated things. The gold is worn thin at the emperor's face. You do not know which emperor. What matters is the weight of it, which you know by touch in the dark, which you know through leather and sweat, which you have known for 3 years without once looking at it directly in daylight, because looking at it directly would require you to decide what it means. You slip it back into the inner fold of your belt before the light is full. The Danube plain smells of wet grass and horse and the particular smoke of a camp that has been burning the same green wood for 3 days. The Kapikalu fires are ahead of yours. The Janissaries eat first, sleep closest to the Sultan's tent, carry the silence of men who are paid to win and have always won. You do not resent this. Your sipahi eat standing, 23 men. You have counted them. Before Buda, there were 31. Before Belgrade, there were 37. You do not think about this arithmetic except when you are counting, which is what an officer does when the record he is responsible for is written in living men. Qasim is sharpening his keelage against a stone, slow strokes, the sound of it familiar enough that you could find him in full dark by the sound alone. He does not speak before a battle. Neither do you. You check the girth strap on your horse. You check it again. The horse's name is a word your father used for a colour of light in late afternoon that has no good translation. He does not startle at cannon fire, which is not a small thing, which is perhaps the most useful thing you can say about any living creature, including yourself. King Louis II commands in person. He is 20 years old. You were 20 years old once, and you remember what it felt like to confuse certainty with knowledge. The Hungarian cavalry is heavy, armoured, slow to turn. They are magnificent, and they are organised for a different century. The problem for them is that this is not that century. Suleiman has 70,000, plus 160 cannon arranged along the ridge to the east, plus Janissary arquebusiers in 3 staggered lines, plus the Anatolian cavalry on the left flank, plus your sipahi on the right. The Hungarians have already crossed the Mohács marshes. They have chosen the plain. They have chosen to meet you in the open. You did not sleep much after that. There is a moment, in the hour before the lines form, when a battlefield is still geography. It becomes something else at the moment the first cannon fires. Before that, it is hills and grass and the particular quality of the air over the Danube in late August, which is heavy and warm and carries the smell of the river even here, 3 miles from the bank. You can see the Hungarian line forming to the north. You can count their banners, which are red and white and gold, and carry devices you do not entirely recognize. You wonder if they can't see your dust. You wonder if the king, 20 years old, looked at his assembled cavalry this morning and felt the same thing you felt looking at your 23 men. Probably not. You take the coin out. You look at it. The emperor's face, worn to a suggestion. The gold green at the edges where your sweat has been working on it for 3 years. You do not know what you are asking. You put it back. The drum begins. Not a battle drum. The steady beat that sets the cavalry's walking pace when the lines are still forming. It comes from the centre, from the Janissary position, and it travels outward across the plain, the way sound travels across water. Arriving before the meaning of it has fully settled. Qasim looks up from the killage. You look at him. He puts the stone away. You do not decide when to charge. You wait. You wait for the cannon. You wait for the signal that the cannon have softened enough of the Hungarian centre that the Janissaries can advance. You wait for Ibrahim Pasha to judge that the moment is correct and to give the order that will travel down from him to your bullock commander to you, and from you to Qasim, who will carry it to the 23 men who are sitting on their horses in the late August heat, sweating into their armour, listening to the drum. You are very good at this, which is to say you are very good at holding the waiting inside yourself where the men cannot see it. One of them is Yusuf, who is 18 and from a village near Bursa, and who asked you 3 nights ago whether it was true that the Hungarian cavalry horses were larger than Ottoman horses. You told him size matters less than what the animal has learned to tolerate. It also answered a different question than the one he was actually asking. He is in the 3rd row. You have placed him there deliberately. At approximately the 3rd hour after dawn, the cannon fire. Not 1 cannon. 160 cannon. The sound does not arrive as sound. It arrives as a change in the air, a pressure that you feel in your chest before your ears register anything. The horse shifts beneath you. You hold him with your knees, both hands visible, which is what you have trained yourself to do because the men watch your hands. If your hands grip the reins in the moment of the first volley, the men will grip their reins, and the horses will feel it, and the line will fray before it is moved. The sound follows a full breath after the pressure. Then the smoke begins to rise from the ridge. You cannot see the Hungarian line anymore. Within 5 minutes, the plain to the north has changed. It does not merely obscure. It replaces. The world you knew, The Hungarian line, with its banners and its armoured cavalry and its 20-year-old king, has been replaced by a grey and white wall that moves in no wind. What you know of the battle now, you know by sound. The Janissary volleys are a different register than the cannon. Faster, shorter, repeating in sequence as the three lines fire and reload and fire. The Hungarian cavalry is somewhere inside the smoke. You know this because you can hear the horses, the specific register of horses in extremity that is not like any other sound a horse makes. You hold your line. Ibrahim Pasha's order reaches you through two intermediaries. By the time the words arrive, they have been reduced to their essential content. Go. You draw the killage. The line moves forward at the walk, which becomes the trot at your signal, which becomes the canter at the distance you have determined is correct, which becomes the gallop at the moment you judge. You are now no longer thinking about the coin, or about Yusuf in the third row, or about the 23 men and the 8 who are not here, and the 3 years of arithmetic that produced that number. You are thinking about the gap. The Hungarian heavy cavalry has been broken at the centre. You can see this now as you come through the smoke. Armoured men trying to turn horses that do not want to turn in a space that has become too narrow for turning. The left flank of their line is exposed. Ibrahim Pasha has seen it from the high ground. You are the instrument of what he has seen. The sipahi on your left are moving with you. The Hungarian horsemen who see you coming have two choices and neither is good. The men who understand this are already choosing the third option, which is the marsh to the east. The marsh they crossed this morning, thinking it was behind them. The killage is in your hand, and you are moving at the gallop, and the horse is doing what 4 years of trust has prepared him to do. There is very little thinking left to be done. The Battle of Mohács takes 2 hours. You are not aware, during those 2 hours, that it is a battle that will be remembered. You are aware of the length of the field, the position of the sun, the sound of the Janissary drums still beating somewhere in the smoke behind you. The exact moment when the Hungarian resistance stops being organised and becomes something else, something that has no military name, only a human one. You are aware that Qasim is still beside you and that this is not guaranteed, and that you noticed it. You are aware that at some point the Hungarian line is no longer a line. The banners, the red and white and gold, are on the ground now, which is where banners go when the men carrying them have made a decision about what matters more. The marsh takes the rest of them. The marsh takes the king. Louis II was found face down in the shallows, his armour having pulled him under when his horse stumbled at the bank. 20 years old. The weight of plate armour in a marsh is not a metaphor. It is a physics problem, and the answer is always the same. The plain is quiet in the way that plains are quiet after. You walk your horse through the edge of the field, not looking for anything in particular, looking at everything. The Hungarian cavalry dead are in their armour, which makes them look like something that belongs to the previous century, which they do. You find a place where the smoke has thinned, and you can see the Danube from the ridge. The river does not know what happened here. The river is doing what rivers do. You think about the field near Bursa where Yusuf was born. You think about what he will tell them when he returns. You think about whether it will sound like what happened, or whether the distance between what happened and what can be said about it is the same distance you have always felt, the one you have never found a way across. You take the coin out, the emperor's face, worn smooth, the gold gone green at the edges where your hands have been. You do not know which emperor. You do not know what country this man ruled, or whether it still exists. You know the weight. You know what it cost to carry it this far. You put it back. The plain begins to fill with the sound of the army settling, men and horses, and the particular noise of victory, which sounds less like triumph and more like relief, which is what it actually is, which is what it has always been. Qasim looks at you. You look at him. Neither of you says anything. You have established this between you.